It's finally time to start working toward the final vision of this mega base. Ever since the very beginning, my goal has been to build a massive central hub. A place where train lines stretch out in every direction, connecting all my farms and builds, funneling resources back here to create the ultimate Minecraft create mod base. And now I'm finally at a point where I can start building the trains to make that vision a reality. Just one small issue: I don't actually have anywhere for those trains to sit while they're idle. So today I'm fixing that by building a train yard. Welcome back to Just Create. Before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. It helps a ton and keeps you up to date as this mega base gets closer to completion. And before we start working on the train yard, we need to bring the train tracks down this way. And before we can do that, I think we need to make a river. And I hear you, another one, Stam? Because in case you didn't know, recently I transformed this entire river here into a custom one to transport logs over to the sawmill area. And a few months ago, one of the first builds in this area, I built this completely custom river biome here going through and out to the ocean. And now I want to complete this loop by adding another little river branching off out to the ocean. And I'm going to need some beacons, and I do have some laying around somewhere on contraptions, but I might as well glue and contraptionify this one just sitting here. And probably going to need two, so let's also join a second one. Get the first one situated towards the old riverside and throwing down this one towards the ocean. Before we start digging though, I need to restock on some supplies. So I'm off to the village, which definitely had a name that I totally didn't forget. I'm sure I'll remember someday. For now, getting my rocket box restocked with paper and gunpowder. Over at spawn, we can fly over to Chosen's meat stand and buy a few stacks of steak. Back at the base, we don't have too many blocks to clear for this new river since the terrain already sits close to Y level 63. Just need to remove a few layers of dirt and some stone underneath to reach the water's edge. Starting to get somewhere with this, and luckily the digging gets easier now. So turning on the Lightmatic, as like most of my builds, this one is pre-planned. Using the mod Lightmatic helps me speed up the process of bringing it to life on the server, as I don't end up digging away a bunch of unnecessary blocks as I create the shape of the bottom of the river. Taking to the skies, the river is definitely starting to take shape, and I've already brought a bit of mud with me, which I want to fill the inventory with to create a full layer of mud along the entire riverbed and edges. A simple trick, but once the water is added in, it'll make the river look a lot deeper than it actually is. And with that completed, I've got a bunch of grass and dirt that I got from digging the river. So let's take that and start to build up some terrain for the actual train yard. And we've got so much in fact that I'm also spending a bit of time building up the grass/dirt layers towards the mega base mountains, as that's one of the bigger pieces of terrain I want to finish up today. Ran out of grass pretty early, but continued with the dirt, and that will slowly convert into grass here as we're building. And we'll come back to this as well, we need some stone added in, and well, even more dirt to stretch up to over there. But I think it's time for the tracks, which of course means that we need to head back to the storage and grab a few more resources, where I think I'm just gonna go a little overkill and get a shulker box of all the resources that I need to make, well, the edges and bottom of the train tracks, which does mean that we need to do a quick little stop at the greenhouse, and I'm hitting everything, ouch, where we can get a shulker box of moss and a shulker box of pale moss. Got that combined in some moss cobblestone now, and got a box of tough deep slate and coarse dirt. Still need that podzol, but before that, let's also grab a light gray shulker box, get a few more blocks requested, and spend a bit of time in the stone cutter crafting that down. Should have most of the things I need with that. Only thing we're missing now is, well, the actual train tracks and of course our podzol. And I have 600. Right, so we need to make a bit more. Let's get a bit of stone then. And I think 2 stacks of iron. Up and down into the old workshop where... Interesting. Right, we already have a bit of stone. Just need to throw some more iron nuggets in here at the top then, I'm guessing. And might as well throw these in here as well. While we wait for that, there's one more thing I need to get while we're here at spawn. And that's first of all up here in Chosen's factory, where I need a bit of sand. Then over at my gunpowder farm, just unbox that. And I need to get a bit more TNT because I accidentally threw all of mine in lava along with the shulker box. Descending into the depths. I do need, I have that right. Oh, yes, good. Such a mess down here with all the tunnels I once dug. Pretty sure this is the one I usually go to, though. Find ourselves a chunk border. Head up just a few blocks from that. And, ooh, there's even, good. Yeah, we'll go this way. And we backstep and we place all of the TNT every other block. Light the last one up. And we can mine any of the debris that we find from this. Somehow got the piggies angry at me, but ended up with double what we needed, which means we can craft up 4 netherite ingots and in turn create 4 lodestones. And well, I made a little oopsie in the last episode as we fly over into spawn here and we just hit that button, head down into the sewers where I actually built a bridge, but as you can see there's something missing. Yeah, I might have done a little oopsie and I might have forgot to add a lodestone. So I mean, it's a shock that this bridge hasn't collapsed yet. But don't worry, I'm here to save it by just adding those. And won't you look at that? Oh, so much dirtier. And looks like we nearly got enough. I don't really know how the splitting of this thing works. Not too well though. So what we'll do, I'm pretty sure Chosen's even automated this process. And it's just stone and iron, right? So I'm sure he wouldn't mind if he just yoink a few stacks. I'm pretty sure he doesn't sell it. Nearly forgot about getting everything else, but we do still need the puzzle, so we gotta fly over to the nearby Taiga, where I don't think we're gonna gather up an entire shulker box of puzzle, but I do need to restock it nonetheless. You find bits here, and we've got at least 2 rows of it. Should be way more than we actually need, but it's always good to have a bit of extra because I go through quite a lot of puzzle. Finally, we can start laying the foundation for the tracks leading out of the mega base on the north side, the last line without any connections, where I'm curving and sloping it down towards the newly dug out river, which causes a bit of a problem. Self-made, but still a problem that needs fixing, so I'm grabbing some of the blocks we gathered in the stone cutter earlier to start forming the arch and structure of another diagonal bridge, extending our deep state and tough over the top. And we've got the train track foundation down to the other side of the bridge now, but no tracks themselves. So let's get this one here, which we can lead all the way up to this point. Back down here. Kind of depends on where you're standing when you're placing it. If you just do that, we get the second curve coming in here as well. And we can just connect this up into the roundabout. Got that coming across the bridge as well. And my plan is obviously to have the train yard over on this side of this hill, as I want to, well, transform that side of the hill because this is looking good. This isn't, and we have all that custom train over here and one more custom train, but we don't have too much space to work with, and I'm not entirely sure where we're going to get the trains to turn around. So I think what we're gonna do is take this guy and we'll just go off a little bit in this direction, bring it over out here, and this will be when the trains are coming down here to go to the train yard. That will go down on this line, and we can make them round that and then enter through the back. And if we take this one then instead, as this will be the one that's going out, step out a little bit from the terrain here, and we'll get that one curving over this way. We can jump down over here and make this hopefully right. We'll instead just get that going to this point, and we can have from there, and this should be able to go down here. And I think, yeah, that's looking pretty good. And obviously also just for parity's sake, take this one, and then we gotta go 1, 2, 3, and we can also just hook this up right to here. And in case we were to go and build much more out this way, which if we take a look at the map, my original plan for this base was to expand out in this entire area up here, but the plans changed. I made them a little smaller because I feel like the terrain we're already doing is expansive enough. And I want to continue figuring out the layout here for the train yard, but to do that I know for a fact I'm gonna need to clear away some blocks, so we need to go repair my shovel, which luckily is just popping out of the portal and flying over the lake to Jojo's old XP farm, which is still housing a lot of XP. I should really just move this over to my base. I was talking to Jojo the other day, and apparently he's getting comments from people, you guys ratting me out, saying I'm stealing his XP over on the server. And you know, I mean, can't steal something that's not here. I also do have permission from Audrey, so you know. But back at the base, we can start flattening out the terrain a little bit for our train yard. And well, it's going to be less of a yard and more of something inside of the mountain because we don't have most space here. But I do think I want about 3 blocks here in between all of the tracks. And I want not that to happen. I want 5 pieces of tracks where I think if we just take this and we make this out on a diagonal and we just bring this forward, this should connect up pretty nicely over here. It does. Great. Then we'll just add in some deep slate underneath here, as that's a lot easier to get in now, as I can't place that through the tracks later. Then grabbing these, we should just be able to go this, not hold shift or anything, and these should all just become straight lines, which then curve into them. I know not the most realistic curves for those of you who care about that, but it's a block game, you know? Maybe next season I'll make realistic tracks. Maybe. I definitely won't. That's a big lie. With the layout in place, let's carry on building the track foundation from the bridge down along the curve and into the entrance of the yard. For the train yard itself, I'm using our usual palette around the tracks, but brightening it up a bit since I want to decorate the area in front of the yard building, leaning more towards normal and rooted dirt. Which is looking good, and I think before we go and get some materials to work on the exterior of this, I want to figure out that shape for the actual train yard itself. And for that, I've actually got some resources gathered up here. I just need to head back up to storage as well, because, well, I forgot one of the most important parts of this, which is a few stacks of drills. Click it on here, we can show that back into the chest and then just send the schematic cannon off. As if you haven't figured it out, my plan is to take our train yard, well, through this mountain. So I just need to clear away a few blocks here that can allow ourselves to get our contraption down. And I have just realized I've not locked that rotation, but that should be fine. Yeah, I have not really thought up the design of this, have I? Oh, this makes it very hard to get underneath it. Oh no. Oh no. Lock rotation. And we'll give this a second try. Yeah, I really should have gone with a furnace minecart design, shouldn't I? Oh, of course, this is... Right, changing that out for a furnace minecart then. Let's start up the drill. Clearing out all the space for this train yard. Got to clear a space over in the back as well to get our trains in on the other side, but for now we've at least got the space covered. And well, let's be honest, it took a lot less time because I used the drill and didn't dig it by hand. But it's fun digging by hand, right? Although this wouldn't have been that fun. Rivers, on the other hand, love digging rivers. For now though, we need to get some materials put together. To get started, I'm like always going to spend some time stone cutting. First up, a bit of deep slate. Then we can get some tough requested and cut down. A few regular stones and mossy ones to finish us off. Which means we can move on to the next resource where I'm actually leaving the base. Flying over to the core reef as I want to grab a few dead horn and brain core blocks. Didn't need too many, so that there should do. Back at the base, I've grabbed some shulkers to fly down to the sawmill, and feels like that's... Yep, okay. Yeah, it looks like the spruce farm is broken. Looks like the gantry somehow broke, so let's just get that fixed and switched back up. Distraction aside, let's get some different wood variants requested and put in our shulkers. And the next resource is some mushroom, and it looks like I used all of it while making the mega base, so let's see if we can use the complicated farm I made to get a bit more. And it broke. Right. Clean that up and turn it back on, and broken again. I guess a short flight out to the dark oak forest to gather up some mushroom blocks then. We're back at the base using a recipe from my mod, stripping the blocks down into mushroom steps. Need a few more just random stuff laying around in my storage, so spending a bit of time crafting, requesting, just putting all the final stuff into our boxes. Which hopefully should be everything that we need to build this train yard. Down at the train yard, let's get some of our coral and cobblestone plus some tuff, which we can use to start creating some of the bottom walls here for the train yard. Of course, with some larger openings here for our trains to go through, where we can use a mud brick just to round that off a little bit and add in a little bit of color change. Top of this, coming in with some polished tough and a regular deep stay, go in every other, where I want on this section to extend up some dark oak trims and fill the walls with granite dripstone and light gray terracotta to create an older section of the train yard. Add in a little roof, and what I mean about a bit of an older section is if we take some lighter, less eroded stone blocks and continue building up this next segment here, we can create what at least looks like a newer segment of the train yard, so that it looks a little bit like they've had a train yard here for a while, but fairly recently gone and updated it, adding 3 more tracks for this new segment as well. Take some inspo from the mega base where we have some copper, and I figure we could do a very similar thing here with just extending up some of this to create a bit of a just decal. Get in some polished tough here just underneath just to support this a little bit, and quickly just finish this off. We'll break it up just a tad bit by bringing in some slabs here on the front segment, which is looking good. Adding some pipes here in the corner, and well, the next thing I want to tackle before continuing on this is the train hall itself. And well, this is quite a large structure, and I've actually thought about this, so we're gonna take a quick flight back up to the mega base. Every time we just fly in this direction, it just looks so sick, and then I'm reminded about how much terrain there's left around to finish, and the interior, and yeah, okay, let's not dwell on that, I guess. As when I was doing the material gathering, I also threw a bunch of resources into this guy, and there's no minecart. Here we go, just grab that, and I've actually prepared a schematic cannon up on the hill here, as the train hall is just going to be a long room with not too many details, but building all this by hand would be fairly repetitive, so instead letting the schematic cannon do it so that we can focus on the fun things such as the exterior and all the less fun things, logic. Where with this hall in now, I want to create a few automatic doors for our trains here in the front, purely for decoration, but I didn't, you know, pain a mystery setting up logic, right? But first, the easier part, grab some trap doors. I need some spruce planks and weathered iron. Oh, and our copycat panels. Where we on top of here can just add in some weathered iron in all of these gaps to act as the hinges of the doors. We're coming down here on the front, and we can add a row of copycat panels, which we can fill with some weathered iron. Then I'm going to just take a little bit of scaffolding and help us out to get on top of this, where I want to do a row of spruce trap doors for spruce trap door every other, and then a copycat panel where we don't have a door. Going up 3, and well, in the entire way really, where this just goes up 1 more block. This continues up where we bring out our spruce planks for the top little bit here, and then we flip those closed and grab some weathered iron windows just put in here, and I think that's gonna work for a door design. No, just repeat this 4 more times for the other tracks. Got that all glued up as well, and we can jump on into the inside. Somewhere in here, yep, there we got mechanical bearings, and we're gonna have to place one of these on every single one of these weathered iron blocks, and then we're gonna have to switch the mode to place only near the initial angle, because I don't want this accidentally spinning the wrong way or something messing up and it's spinning twice and breaking the build. And I reckon it should be fairly simple if we just grab some gearboxes on top of these and we connect them up in pairs. So those two, these two, and so on. Then bringing out our sequence gear shifts, have those coming in on all of these. Then to connect it all up, I think we can just use some chain drives and run this across the entire top. Then for this next part, we're gonna have to get our train stations out, and I think I want to put this 2 blocks from the door where we get track 1, and then I just gotta repeat these for the rest. I'll base the first one away a little more because it couldn't quite reach, but if we get a comparator in on this to detect if there's a train, then get an observer. Now this is gonna trigger when a train arrives and leaves, but I guess that's fine. I don't really know how to do the system otherwise and get it to only trigger. No, I think I'm just gonna have it trigger both times, because that way, oh, maybe, nah, we'll leave it at this right now. I have an idea on how we could fix that, but I don't really want to do that redstone. But we'll just continue running these out of all of them, as we obviously need the doors to trigger when a train on the correct path leaves. Just get a redstone link on that, and then we can get a redstone link on all of these. Bringing out a lime dye, we can get that on the bottom of all of these, and then just use some random items that I have in my inventory on the top blocks. And to make it easier for myself, bringing out a clipboard, and we can copy the settings, and then we can paste them. Hook this up to a water wheel there at the back, and I want to make sure that all of these could theoretically open at the same time, so it went a little overkill. But if we just press that and hop on down, well, no, they definitely opened the wrong way. Yeah, that's not quite looking right. Simple fix though. We just need to invert this guy, and then probably also slow this down just a little bit. 128 might be a little fast. I want them to open fairly quickly because there's no delay from the trains leaving and, well, the doors opening, but that's looking a whole lot better. Just clipping the stair a little bit there, but that's fine. And the closing sequence, how fast is it? Oh yeah, definitely fast enough if a train were to start leaving, because I kind of want to test that out. The problem is I don't have an entrance on this side yet, and well, I don't quite want to work on that just yet. Instead, I want to focus a bit more on the front. So we'll just have to test in a second, right? Yeah. Totally not lazy or anything. With the doors at least working manually, let's continue working on the structure where I want to grab our mushroom stems, light gray concrete powder, definitely gonna need that eventually, and some pale oak. And with this whitewashed palette, we can start creating the walls of this little top floor here. And but towards the middle here, we can line this up with our pale oak and bringing out some more different bits of that. We can stack up some fences here in the middle with some trapdoors on the side, going up 4 blocks. Getting up here now, and I want to bring in some levers with some dark oak fences on top of them for a bit of support for our future roof. We're going to take our darker range of the blocks here and just get that inside of this as we stretch across the final bit here. Then on the inside here, we've got the little problem that, well, I have some crate components that I kind of want to hide up. Not going to make it really that pretty in here, but I want them just out in the open. So we'll extend up some mushroom stems here up to the height of our windows. But what I want to do is bring in some copper grates here for the actual windows, and then we can just surround that in mushroom stem. Probably should have used like pale oak or something, because that's a lot cheaper of a block, but well, here we are. This is what I have most of. Also hoping that all of the logic works now, because it's going to be a lot harder accessing that from now on. Then we should just be able to extend this across. I'm not going to texture anything. I'm a little too lazy to do that. Plus, we're not really going to be inside here all that often. With the inside walls sorted, went and grabbed a few different wood bits here and some mud bricks for us to start building the roof itself, where I'm thinking we can go from oak into jungle here into our mud brick, where just to break up the roof a little bit, bring in some mossy cobblestone as well, and we can pair that with some mossy stone bricks to match up with our mud brick. Then for a few darker tones spread throughout, I do want to use a little bit of spruce just here and there to highlight the darker areas. This little bit in the middle here, we can just get some pale oak planks extended in for a small little floor section. Then I want to use a couple of these here, just extending these up 5 blocks, and using sort of the same palette as we have underneath, just a little cleaner and a lot brighter, moving into more smooth quartz and stripped pale oak. And then I think we continue with our copper grates, just going into the weathered instead here for a few more green tones in the roof, as we already have the mossy cobblestone and the mossy stone brick. Yeah, that's what it's called. But let's continue extending up the roof here around our skylights. That's starting to look good. We've just got a small issue here with there's no sides and no back just yet, and that's because I've been meaning to extend the custom terrain even further, stretching out from what is the first piece of custom terrain in this entire mega base surrounding the gas garage to reach over to the side of the terrain yard. On the left side, extending up the grassy bit towards the base of the cliff before extending that up and encasing our train yard. Had to just do a few small connecting bits, add in a few more details as well around, and I think it's looking, well, mainly a lot better. Totally didn't forget to add in the chimneys I planned. No, taking some more inspo though from the mega base with copper chimneys with their smoke blowing out the top. And well, the reason I've taken so much inspiration from the mega base, not only do I like it a lot, but also this makes a lot of sense being very connected to the mega base, since this is like the hub for the trains delivering resources to the mega base, which is also why I added on this antenna here. And it looks like one of the happy guys have gotten out somehow, but at that antenna we'll be talking and, well, communicating with the mega base on what trains need to be delivered and sent out and pick up resources and all of that. Now we just have to make the trains pick up items and deliver them. So yeah, to be fair, probably an episode I should do soon. I'm actually really excited about it. I just wanted this, I needed this in before doing it. I also need a few more trains. Right, but let's finish this off first of all, where I want to grab some polished tuff, chiseled copper chains, and trapdoors. And what I want to do with this is take our chiseled and then start creating the wall, putting one of these every 3 blocks here. And I think I'm just going to follow the shape that we have laid out. Then for the actual like wall part of this, I'm thinking what we do is we take some polished tuff walls with a polished tuff slab on top of it, and then we use chains in between here to create, well, the fence part. And as we've discovered before with this tactic, it's a very secure fence, but it looks good. So here we are. There we go. Final just part there, adding in a small little archway for the exit. And then to continue working on the yard, let's put these blocks away and instead bring out these pillar blocks, which I rarely use the modded stone types, but I think I kind of have to here because they just look really good. As if we use this crimsite pillar here, we can start laying the foundation of a little container, which we can go ahead and extend up another 2 blocks. And since the pillars already have this like riveted side to them, these just look really good as, well, containers. I know Beardy tends to like give them a little spin with a mechanical bearing. I'm gonna be a little lazy here and instead do just this and see if this still works, because this feels a little more Minecrafty to me, and it's also a little faster to do. Plus it works at a distance, because I've already had issues with the doors of the gas garage just spinning crazy when they're just out of render distance. And while we're at it, why not just add in yet another one here as well? We can go over onto this one as well, just to add in another one. Another container added in over here, and well, a bunch more junk filling up the yard really. As well, this is the place to repair and maintain trains, so it makes sense to have a bunch of just extra materials laying around, like extra metals, barrels filled with items. You have some extra boilers, fans, just general stuff that you could need to repair the trains, and also just a few train tracks, because why not? But I think with that, the train yard itself is kind of done. I do need to hook up the back still to test it all out, but before that, we have some work to do over in the site, as we need to fill this with water. I need to add in rocks, maybe another mountain peak. Oh yes, terraforming. Maybe I'm just putting off hooking up the train tracks, maybe. After throwing all of our leftover materials into the storage, I need to refill the terrain shulker boxes, and I have run out of andesite though, so down by the farm quickly to grab another 3 boxes of that. Threw some cobblestone and gravel in the crushing wheels before jumping down there, so I've got a bit more sand that I can craft into a bit more light gray concrete powder. Then let's see, yep, I'm running really low on grass, so instead let's get 2 shulkers of dirt requested. Now, with our terrain resources restocked, I want to start by filling in these 2 gaps in the terrain near our train bridge. before switching my focus to the cliffs on the other side of the river, going really dark towards the bottom as a lot of it will be underwater once we fill the river up. But extending those cliffs up and connecting it to the dirt we placed in earlier. At least the river section is starting to come together now, looking good, just missing that water. But we'll get back to that as a quick little inventory refill, and I'm back to placing blocks starting to shape out the base of the smaller mountain peak that's formed a bit to the side of the main mountain range. And with the basin, I can start expanding up the peak itself, not making this one too tall since it is a support peak, but I did still want to add something a little different here rather than just a larger sloping plains biome. Which this is definitely a lot better than, but we still need to patch this up. So back in the storage, I've grabbed the schematic to get a design loaded onto. Thrown that in a cannon, and I've now got a material list, which hopefully this should cross most things off the list, and it does. Great. Just need a few more acacia leaves, which I can grab from our tree farm as it's filled up on acacia logs at the moment. Then just need wheat seeds, so I'm over at spawn where... Oh, Throwlash doesn't have that many. Right, well, let's harvest and replant my wheat field here and see how many we get. And that's not quite enough. Need another shulker at least, and I wonder if... Oh yes, Jojo has an unbroken one. And with a ton of seeds. Oh, great. Back at the base, I've transported down the material vault and sent off the schematic cannon. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work as a schematic cannon goes layer by layer, and since I didn't set out water for the field, whenever it started planting wheat, the farmland had already turned back to dirt, so I ended up having to pretty much plant the entire field by hand. But hey, at least we now have a beautiful and growing wheat field. And popping over to the coral reef again, I want to add one more detail to the field. Just need to gather up a bunch of horned coral. That took a little bit of time to get a stack, but back at the main base now, I want to start placing this coral around some of the dry patches of the fields, just to switch up a little bit from all of the wheat. And with that in, we've just got to let the wheat itself grow, and in the meantime we can sort this out. First of all, removing the old mud farm since I have a new one up in the mountains. Then bringing in some dirt and filling in this final stretch of terrain, really completing up this side of the base, at least as far as the main shaping goes. Still got a ton of foliage and details to add in, and something I really should get working on here soon, but also... Because I've been a little lazy, although maybe we probably should put in something. Oh, look at that! We need to connect up the tracks. We need to... Oh no, I don't have that. I need to go repair my light as well. Oh no, right, I can't take this way because there's no actual way up from the train roundabout if you don't have an elytra. Yeah. There might be a few design flaws, I'm not gonna lie. I also don't have a working door yet, so I need to just whoop. Then I can get into my storage. Grab some leftover resources I had laying around and starting to lay the deep slate foundation for the tracks. Getting some actual tracks in on this, and it's looking good. Now just to add a bit more deep state, some tough pale moss, and throw in our coarse dirt, mossy cobblestone, and podzol on the outside of that. Better with all that cleaned up. Now we just gotta sort out the final little stretch here into the actual train yard, which means we do have to do some digging. But first, let's just see. I don't think I'm gonna go too complicated on this whatsoever, but I want to bring these blocks out, and I guess we'll start right here. Bring ourselves up, and I guess this is gonna hit the rock, and we'll bring this up and run it up with a few stairs, connecting these up here. I'm also thinking we use some polished tuff just to round off the inside edges a little bit. It's a really tall tunnel, but I think it's gonna work with what we have going on the inside. I'm pretty sure it's roughly this tall at least. There we go. Final piece of track in. And oh, I really want to test this now. And I think I've got the perfect train to do it with. Okay, I'm pretty sure I could take that. Oh, no, I can't. Okay. Right. This temporary pig's gonna have to go soon. For now, though, I guess you can just sit over there. Then if we turn out from here, I think this is the right direction. Oh, that's great. Down over the bridge. Heading past the gas garage. A little tidy on the corner, but I think we're good. Then I'm gonna make sure to take this turn as well. We could take the tracks off in that direction. Don't really have anything to connect it up to. But this goes down here, and I guess we'll go to the first platform. So we'll just do a turn. Oh, that's not great. Oh, that's not great. It's fine. No one's gonna see that. It's fine. Listen, it's fine. If we stop here, though, the door should actually open. They do. They open really fast. I mean, I'm honestly considering slowing that down even further. Go down to 32 instead. So if we get on board now and we just start driving. Oh, that's perfect. That's so good. Oh, I love that. It does hit the train, I think, a little bit, but I think that's fine. It's not the entire world when that happens, but I do really like having the closed doors and then the fact that they open when this train starts. Oh, that's so fun. Now just gotta imagine this with like 4 more trains and them actually leaving and entering and actually moving next time, maybe. For now, we've just got one final thing to do, which is well, fill up the river. That's still not done. Yeah, I might have been putting it off. I really have to decorate them as well. Oh, there's so much detailing to do. But switching on I might get a little bit, as I do have, of course, this all figured out as well. Just need to figure out exactly. Oh, yeah, that's pink. All right, let's see that there. Should do it a little better. Changing the Lightmatica settings just a little bit. Let me see a little more on the water. I'll grab just a little more mud there to finish it off, but that's at least opened up now. Back up in the storage, we can grab our filler, and I'm a little forgetful on how this thing is positioned when I do put it into the world. I guess we could quickly just check. Oh, that would actually work, actually. Right, well, let's just place that down right here then. Here, all we should need to do is flip this one. No, they did not deploy. Oh, the water's gone. Oh, great. Yeah, we can do it by hand then. Extend this up to sit, I'm pretty sure here. And then we flip this guy on and... Perfect. While that's working away, I've got a little box of some nature blocks here, as I at least want to get a start on some detailing and foliage in the area by building a few trees around the river. Step back, water in, trees in, and oh, it's just looking really good, isn't it? And I think we just have to take a look back at where we started this episode and how messy this side of the mega base was and how much we've cleaned it up now. There's still a ton of work to do in this area, as well, I am not even getting really started on any of the detailing, but at least we don't have any floating terrain over on this side. So, just let me just think this was me blowing something. Yeah, this was definitely when I died in a creeper explosion. Yep, okay. So nothing left floating over on this side, but of course we didn't only fix up the terrain close to the mega base, but we also built a brand new building, the TRAINYARD, ready to house some trains to transport materials around the mega base, which has been the vision for this entire build right from the start. And I know it's taken a while to well, get to the point where we're actually putting that vision to life, but I think we're really close, and I can't wait to have trains traveling around the base. It's gonna be so exciting. But that is all the time I have today. As always, thank you to all of my supporters, and thank you to you for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.